The latest smoking ban has come into force in England today. Now, this makes it illegal for anyone, that's the driver or the passenger, to smoke in a car carrying anyone under the age of 18. If you get caught, you could face a £50 on-the-spot fine. Nadia, they've been talking about implementing something like this for many years now. Today it comes into force. Do you think nanny state gone mad, or thank God finally something's been done?
Well, as an ex-smoker, I can remember what a selfish, arrogant madam I was when I smoked, and nothing and no living human being was more important than me and my fags. So I think actually it should be a higher fine. I hope the police enforce it. They're saying that they're going to give a sort of 3-month easy time for people to get used to it. But as you said, Jane, it's whether they then will enforce it.
Yeah.
I think we know the facts. We know of all the different horrible illnesses a child is more vulnerable to around smoke. So for me, I will go as far as to say that I believe that it is a kind of child abuse to smoke in a car with it. And I also think that we should make it the same for pregnant. If we're saying that in a car you're sort of trapped in this smoke-filled environment that we know is so dangerous, then why not the same for when you're pregnant?
That's a valid point. Does that apply in other countries, do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think it's illegal anywhere, and I think that's
It's possibly
crazy.
something to do with it's your body, whereas I suppose where it's you know, when you're in a car, you're out and about, it's sort of a whole legally it's possibly a different thing.
But it's about making it more and more unacceptable. So eventually, people are embarrassed to even smoke in their own home with their child.
I think that's how it will be almost self-policed. I think it will become a thing that, you know, people will tut and you know, drive by and point and this sort of thing, like people do with mobile phones.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that is it. I think that ultimately after 3 months, the policing will probably still carry on the same way. I mean, remember that mobile phones are not supposed to be used in cars. How many times do we see people using mobile phones? And I think the only people that ever get caught is if a policeman just happens to pull up alongside you. I don't think the police are out actively looking at these things because, you know, if we're reporting burglaries online now, they're not out policing this kind of stuff. But what will happen is that all of us will, with impunity, feel that we can pull alongside somebody and go, you know, look at them and go, you're smoking in a car with your child.
Would you say something?
Yes.
Would you point it out?
Absolutely, I would.
Would you? So I might think it really strongly, but I don't think I'd say it.
It's quite interesting, though. I've never smoked, actually, since I smoked 3 Woodbine when I was about 13. I've never smoked since then. But, you know, it's not that long since, if you were on a plane, you had, like, the first 10 or 12 rows, all smokers, and all that smoke going back along the plane. So I think we've come a long way in recent years, particularly with education, because you were saying at our meeting this morning you would have to be really stupid if you didn't realise that smoking is very bad for your body.
It's written on the bucket, smoking kills.
Well, exactly. And so, although it would be impossible for the police to actually police this one, but it'll act as a warning and as another bit of education that we can't do it, that it's against the law. So I think ultimately it will help.
I think what's really interesting is through the generations, obviously, you know, when it first became in vogue for, you know, it was in the movies and the adverts were everywhere and it all looked terribly glamorous. I think the people of that generation associate cigarettes with very different ideas to this generation. And I actually think they're the ones that will almost need educating. Because I know, you know, when we used to fly a lot when I was younger, obviously, because I grew up overseas. We'd come back home to visit mum and visit my grandparents. And my mum is a smoker, and, you know, we'd be on the plane. She was a nervous flyer as well, so she'd be pretty much smoking all the way, you know, there and back. And she always used to say to my sister and I, if I ever catch you smoking, you know, because of all the grief she had to put up with us, you know, going like this. And I don't think necessarily that I would say grandparents' generation would think anything of smoking with children in the room, with babies in the room, that sort of thing.
Lovely woman,
she's
a lovely mum,
lady,
a lovely gran, and yet you hear that selfish side of the smoker she said to you, I'll have you if you start smoking after all the grief you've given me about my smoking, you see? And so I think that again proves that you need a law because...
It didn't work, by the way. I did smoke for a little while. I don't smoke
but
now.
you need the law because whatever you're addicted to, you're not gonna do anything about it really unless you're forced to.
But what about
whatever that is?
I mean, what about the whole idea? I mean, we're talking about smoking around children. You know, there'll be grandparents, you know, who, you know, again, my granny was a smoker, and she used to knit us the most gorgeous little things, and they all smelt of cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
I think then, yes, because you've got the Marlborough man looking all handsome with his whatever. But I think even now, the older generation, they see smoking kills, they see the public information ads, you know, where you've got, they do that advert where the child's breathing out smoke. I don't... Can there be a single person in the country or on the planet that doesn't know now that smoking is bad for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's still a little bit of, but not really me.
Yeah.
I know it's bad for you, but not really me. Do you know what I mean?
People at home saying my liberties have been taken away completely. I bet you have some people getting in touch
It's not
saying...
about you as an individual. This is about... I'm talking about smoking around children.
Yeah.
Because the child is not choosing to smoke.
Yeah.
So...
No, it's
Poor little
interesting.
thing.